Imagine you're faced with the task of buying a new car. A common approach would be to brainstorm particular cars as possible solutions. These often draw from personal experiences and history. For example, what have I had before? What have I driven? What do my friends have? What do my parents have? And from readily available information, such as advertisements I've seen on TV or the internet, or recent reviews in popular media. And now that we have a potential set of cars, what do we do next? How do we decide which one is best? Usually at this point, we would fixate on the most important factors, such as price, and differentiating factors, such as styling or reliability. But how do we know we're going to end up with a good car and one that we're going to be happy with? It turns out the process of buying the car itself is not free. That is, the process of generating alternatives and gathering the evidence for each one takes resources. Think of it as time and effort spent. But what if the problem really wasn't what car do I buy, but rather how can I have a reliable means of on-demand transport? Buying any car in this case would be an inferior alternative in the age of Uber and Zipcar. Identifying and using our values to frame and motivate the generation of alternatives gives us a higher likelihood of finding superior alternatives. This is called value-focused thinking. Value-focused thinking starts with the rationale. That is, how do I create value? What is the problem that we're trying to really solve? Ideally, we cast these as solution neutral, that is, independent of the particular alternatives. This allows us to consider disparate alternatives on a common basis. Alternatives-focused thinking, on the other hand, starts with the answers, our solutions, our designs, our alternatives. And this approach is the one that we tend to take since it's more concrete and it's easier to implement in the short run. Using alternative-focused thinking may result in only a small number of possibly inappropriate or subpar solutions considered. Now, the benefit is that it more quickly reduces the ambiguity in the problem and allows us to start speaking about concrete solutions, feeling like we're solving the problem more quickly. But it may result in scarce resources developing solutions that need to be justified after the fact. That is, we may have to sell our solutions by altering expectations. Using a value-focused approach, on the other hand, allows us to recast problems into opportunities, increasing the likelihood of a solution performing and delivering well in value, aligning scarce resources on the proper questions at hand, and allowing for consideration of new solutions, perhaps helping us break off of anchoring of what we used last time. Using preferably solution-neutral values as a focus encourages creative problem solving and opens up the solution space. One such example is considering the problem of how to provide near real-time surveillance after a natural disaster to support first responders and aid workers. Our value proposition might include providing near real-time optical imaging with good coverage of an area of interest and providing a good communications relay to first responders. Possible solutions could include using fixed or rotary UAVs, ballistic sensor swarms, satellites, manned helicopters, manned patrol aircraft, and so forth. If we had instead started focusing on solutions first, we might have proposed helicopters as our solution, since that's a common solution to this type problem and what we used in our last natural disaster. And the question is, will a helicopter provide the best value? And it turns out in this particular case, a set of multiple different types of concepts working together provided the best value. Circa 2001, when I was working at JPL with the Mars program office, one of the challenges that a manager brought to me was the fact that when he got a response to his call for proposals for an upcoming mission, he received very different concepts. He didn't know how to compare a rover to an orbiter. This is because he was focusing on the particular criteria for evaluating those alternatives. If he had returned to a value-focused approach, he would have been able to identify that the core goal for these missions was delivery of science value, and that these alternatives evaluated on a common basis would have allowed for the comparison of very different concepts.